Rebounding from getting fired. This one is maybe my specialty. My career starting in high school goes from a series of either mostly getting fired. I'm not very good at quitting jobs. I'm not very good at quitting in general, but being fired. I've been fired probably more than most people, and I've been fired for a different reason almost every time. The biggest reason why I get fired typically is because I am a challenge. I was never really lazy. I was not the type of guy who shows up to work late, and I'm not the type of guy who, for the most part, creates problems with coworkers or anything like that, though I've had, little issues here and there, mostly dating. Don't shit where you eat. That's definitely a lesson to be learned. There is a cost for that, and if you're going to do it, that person better be special. They better be worth the job, which sometimes, quite frankly, that is the case. So if somebody is really that important to you, whatever. It's worth it. Sometimes it's really worth it, but a lot of times it is not. So, and a lot of inner office stuff has a lot of affairs going on, right? It's like a separate work life. I never recommend anything like that. Do not be part of an affair in any kind of way. I've never done a marriage affair, but I've been on the other end of boyfriend and girlfriend. I highly regret it. I got exactly what I deserved from it, and you will too, most likely. Do not be part of it. You will not be happy with yourself later in life, and you will not get what you want out of it as well. That is not the way to do it. Now, women tend to monkey branch more than men, which means, they'll have a significant other or somebody kind of lined up next. Make that person wait. Again, keep your value high. Make them wait. Say, if you really don't want to be with this person, you let me know when it's over. And if they're really that interested in you, they'll pull the trigger. They'll do it the right way. Right? And that's what you really want to do. You don't want to be the other person on the other side. And again, not that you want to force this person to do that, but you'll find that if you kind of go down this branch of doing that, it's not good. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. But focus on, getting fired. Okay? So being fired is not fun. It sucks. It takes a huge toll on your value, your internal value. And for me, it was always something different. And that was what was really tough for me. But the most consistent thing in it was always me. I am a challenging person. I am not shy. I am not shy about my opinions. I am not shy about my attitude. And not that I always try to outshine people necessarily, but I do try to make my presence well known. That will rub people the wrong way. If you read 48 Laws of Power, you'll see, there's stories even in the beginning of that book about Napoleon, Napoleon throwing somebody in jail for outshining them, right? Putting him in purgatory for the rest of his life. You will rub people the wrong way in life. Luckily, in this case, it's primarily just, being the type of person who gets fired. Now, getting fired is such a negative connotation to it. People worry about it so much, quite frankly, that I'm not telling you to want to get fired, okay? It's not a good thing to get fired. But if you're going to get fired early in your life. Just like getting dumped. It's not that different. Just because one person broke up with you doesn't mean the next one will. And just because some person's not attracted to you doesn't mean the next person won't be. Getting fired is difficult, okay? But ask yourself why. Evaluate yourself as to why you got fired, okay? Then you realize in your head, I made myself expendable. I was expendable. And the attitude that I put forth definitely made me expendable. I changed my attitude a lot about how I operate, how I work, what I do when I'm part of an organization. And I've been at my current job for quite a bit now, several years. So I haven't been fired for a while. I've been fired again for various reasons. A lot of them is for sticking out, quite frankly, to a point where somebody up top didn't like me because I stuck out. And that is a thing. That definitely becomes a thing. And, that's okay. But you need to know how to handle that stuff. So when you get fired, the one thing I'll say is it's okay. And I tell people, if you can collect unemployment, collect the unemployment, go on vacation, rebound mentally. You might be fired because the business isn't doing well. You might be fired because there's all kinds of reasons to get fired. A lot of times you are fired because they need the money for your budget. They might tell you other things, but typically that's the case. If you're part of a large organization, a large corporation, and they're firing people, you're usually not the only one at the time that's getting fired. And if you can find other people to work with, to talk with, that's a great way to kind of cope with that, is to recognize you're not the only one. Again, misery loves company type of thing. But really, it's about, just like a breakup, it's about focusing on yourself. So as soon as you lose your job, you need to figure out, how do I up my value? If I'm in a certain career path, okay, well, time to dig a little deeper. What did I do to make myself expendable? Can I be better at my job? Am I in the right job? A lot of times I was in the wrong job, to be honest with you. I was wasting my time. Once you're in your purpose, once you're in the job you're supposed to be in, you will notice an immense difference in your performance. Your purpose has to align with what it is you do and what you want to do. The likelihood of you getting fired will decrease immensely. Because typically, if you're not feeling good about your job, people can feel that, talk all about it over and over again. The Hawkins scale, understanding the energy you output. If you're unhappy in your job, the likelihood of you getting fired definitely goes up. Even if you're hiding it, it definitely goes up. Either you'll get fired, or you'll quit, or people will resent you, or you'll resent your boss. These things are not worth living through. If you don't have any other choices, it's difficult. I totally get that. Find free time. There are so much content available today to better yourself. There's education, there's free education. MIT provides its courses for free. YouTube has some of the best teachers you will ever find. I didn't do well in school. I didn't like school. Majority of the value that I provide today are stuff I taught myself, stuff that was taught to me by YouTube, stuff that was taught to me by friends. And yes, I do have a college degree. It definitely helps, but I don't remember majority of stuff I was taught in college. It's just the truth. The value of college is going way down, but the value of yourself can go way up. There are all different ways to better yourself. So what you want to do is you want to pick yourself back up. You want to not worry about what your resume will look like with a firing. Typically, if you're a contractor, make sure you list it as a contract job. And you have to grasp that story. Why did you get fired? A lot of times, I can tell you, I've been fired by some really bad companies, and I shouldn't have ever been there. And it was my mistake for sticking with people who, quite frankly, didn't deserve my talent. And I would shut down, or I would challenge the person, and I see my way out. That happens. It happens. It definitely happens. And it happens to a lot more people than they're willing to admit. You don't have to put on your resume that you lost your job. You don't have to. You have to hold that story. If you do lose your job, come up with a good reason why. Say, hey, they operate this way, I operate this way. You'd be surprised how many companies recognize that not every square fits into a round hole. Like, that is definitely part of it. Most people will jump throughout their career. You know what it is? The most successful people, they don't stay in these jobs very long. I worked at one small little company who was associated with Microsoft. The most talented guy there was there for about 2-3 months. He won a bunch of awards in design, and he was there. He's like, hey, they didn't give me what I promised. Peace. He left immediately. Didn't even waste his time. That's what confidence is. Don't waste your time at bad jobs. You'll have a lot of them. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Learn to give more than you can. Learn to be patient with it. If you get fired, it's okay. Luckily, the United States has unemployment, right? Not every country has this type of stuff, right? If you don't, you need to better yourself all the time. All the time. That is a key element of progressing your career. You are not going to go where you want to go in life unless you're always building yourself. The average lifespan for I work in tech. The average lifespan for a CIO, head of IT, is 3 years. You know why? Because people don't better themselves long enough in that role. They get comfortable, and then you're out. The people who stick in those roles the longest, they're the ones who are always evolving as a person. So if you lost your job, find ways to build yourself up. Again, I talk about it all the time. Start running. Control your brain. Start reading books. Listen to books on Audible. There's free books on Google. There's free books on YouTube. You can find them. If you tell me you can't, you're lying. If you don't have money to pay for online courses, you can find free ones that are good enough to get you started. I'm telling you, there are all kinds of ways to better yourself. Get yourself a nice suit if you need it. Start dressing nice. If you can't get a haircut, that's nice. There are places out there that will give you haircuts for free if they know you're going for a job interview. Get creative in life. Limitations are an opportunity to solve problems. They're not the end of the road. I luckily have been fired a bunch in the early part of my career, and it made me free. I'm free. I'm not afraid to get fired. That's why I have savings. That's why I do multiple things. I don't have just my full-time job. I have other revenue sources on the side on purpose. I have savings. I know that if I get fired tomorrow, I'm going on vacation. And I can afford not to work for a while if I want to. And I knew that because, quite frankly, I was broke. And I didn't grow up broke. My dad was smart enough to let me be broke. To let me feel the pain of, quite frankly, in my case, laziness. A lot of people, it's not going to be lazy. It's going to be tough stuff in your life, right? But use it. Use it as fuel. If you have not a lot of opportunity and not a lot of money, that is an awesome story to tell an employer. Tell them the struggles you've been through. Sell yourself. It's all about selling your own value. Just like relationships, right? Don't get your value from other people that you're dating. Get your value from yourself. Your employer is not you. And there are plenty of employers in this world. Some will hire convicts. Some will prefer convicts. I can tell you, if I'm going to hire, I'm going to have my own company eventually, a larger one. When I hire people, I don't care if you have a college degree or a master. Definitely don't care if you have a master's. I promise you that much. I definitely don't care. I don't care about any of those degrees at all. I'm not one of those people. You know how many people, majority of people running all these tech companies, how many of them finish college? It's the irony of all these tech companies that need you to have an MBA to get in. The people who started didn't even want to finish their school. Some of the smartest people I know graduated at the bottom of their class and then dropped out of college, started their own company. It's not meant for everybody. So find out why you got fired and attack it. Attack that problem. Build your own value up. Take courses. Read books, like I'm saying. Exercise. Building your body will help you build your mind. And building your mind will give you the strength to rebound from almost anything. Because life is harsh and it will kick you down. So you need to know how to get back up every time. No matter what the case is, no matter how harsh the punishment that life throws on you, you must get back up. Sometimes it'll be once, twice, and you can't even believe how many times you're getting hit. Think of it as, I'm building strength. It is what you're doing. It's about you. It's about you have an option. You have a choice. You can either let life defeat you, or you can let those defeats become the fuel and the building blocks to your heroic story. Everybody is capable of doing it, even those who think they can't. And I know it's easy for me to talk in a life of privilege, and I've had a lot of privilege in my life, do not get me wrong. But I can tell you, even in my privileged life, every time that I've suffered, the way I handled it is what was key. If you're a kid who's growing up in a terrible area, which again, I live in a gentrified area, and you don't have much money, and you don't have good parents, and you have a gang that you're part of, or you get beat up, think about the long game. I guarantee there's people even in your gang who are looking to better themselves. Bring that to your gang. Imagine that. Imagine that creative. I bet most gangs probably never even heard of that stuff. Imagine all of a sudden you start helping people in your gang be smarter. I'm sure you guys will still be violent to some degree, right? I don't condone violence at all, but you can be the change in the world that you want to see. You'd be surprised. And people will try to hold you back. As soon as you try to better yourself, you'll notice people try to hold you back. As soon as you realize that, those are the things you need to get away from. Just like a bad job, a bad person. Let them leave. Leave them. If you're in a bad environment, try your hardest to leave that environment. Ask for help to leave that environment. It is staggering how much your environment will change your life. How much the people you surround yourself will change your life. How much the job you work at will change your life. You are a sponge to those around you, and if you're not strong enough to change the world around you, you will intake that negativity. So remember to do that. Remember to focus on yourself. Remember to always rebound no matter what happens to you. Firing is not the end. It's not the end of anything. You can use that negative story to your advantage. You can use almost anything to your advantage. Remember to do that, and remember, always level up.